This is Resident Evil Daylight UBCS Guide. This guide will hopefully help you play a better UBCS on this map and give you information about all relevant things for the UBCS player slot. The UBCS starts with the clock tower, the command post, and the lab all set up and defended. Each of these areas will spawn units as long as they are up. Losing the radio tower is catastrophic for UBCS. This is your defend at all costs. The lab does get lost, especially in a lot of high-tier games, and even when that is the case, you should not give up. Your helicopters, which spawn at the start of the map at the radio tower, are going to be your greatest utility in moving units around the map quickly and effectively. The UBCS player is set up greatly for surgical strikes and are exactly the type of attacks you should be looking to do until you're able to put yourself on very strong footing by unlocking some of your further advancements within the map. One of these is Agent Hunk. There is a beacon that spawns right here at the start, and if you're able to get Nikolai from the lab into this part of the sewer and rescue Hunk, that will give him to you, and you are able to bring him and Nikolai here to the garage to spawn a new forward base, which unlocks your ability to get more APCs, tanks, which are extremely useful. If you fail at doing so, if Hunk dies, if Nikolai dies, if you are unable to get this base, you only get the APCs that you start with, and you are in a much weaker position overall. Victory will be that much harder. The additional location that you can take is the facility. The facility requires your Umbrella scientists that spawn at the start of the map. If you lose all of your scientists, you will not be able to take the facility. What I normally like to do as the UBCS player is I get Nikolai and a dropship up to the sewer entrance of the RPD. I get my starting tanks and some Marines, and I go into the sewer, make a quick and short push to grab Hunk, and usually under fire from the undead, retreat back to the RPD, load back up in my helicopters, and get out. If I'm able to execute this maneuver, this puts me ahead for the rest of the game, and allows me to get my garage base up, get my tanks, and start looking to push on the facility. If I'm successful in doing this and take the facility, I now hold all UBCS strong points, and my spawns move up a tier, granting me basic units with, additional units with every spawn, which puts you in a great position to push on the sewer or take out other undead external spawns. As the only player with the ability to summon further tanks, you are in a better position to assault undead external spawns like grocery, plant store, motel, dog pound, etc. Because you are the only one who can get units that can outrange these defenses and put really hard pressure on them. You should be using a combination of your not just your ground forces, but your helicopter and moving them around to strike at areas where the undead are currently not paying attention. One of the major themes of this map is moving to where your enemy is not, and this is something the undead will try to exploit on you, particularly in the lab. So if you're not protecting all three entrances to the lab, the undead will look with their overlords for the least defended position, and that's normally what they'll strike for. So you need to watch what your enemy is watching and try to be where they're going to be before they execute their attack. Lastly, I'll mention that having Hunk and having the facility allows you to get 2 higher tier units than you normally have access to. There are the USS agents that look like a Marine, but have a Dark Templar wireframe. They have a much stronger machine gun than the basic Marine and have a little bit of splash. They are extremely tough, And although you don't get a lot of them, they're very, very good. Coupling them with the laser weapon USS agents that spawn primarily at the facility, these two units together are extremely deadly, even against base defenses. And if you use them effectively, whether you're targeting heroes or whether you are assaulting a base and targeting the defenses, those units are going to be key to success in those areas. Finally, a couple of tactical decisions that I think normally happen in most games. Defending this point here against the sewer player, both so that you can assault facility or defend it after you take it, is really key. Getting into this corner with some of your snipers and having Marines as fodder across these two lines is usually a pretty good strategy to employ, particularly if you have extra tanks that are not assaulting the facility at the time to back them up. Once facility is taken, doing things like taking out the plant store and the motel, which are two very good external spawns for the undead, is a great way to employ your units. And really putting pressure on the sewer player so that they can't attack the RPD is really a primary focus of yours, keeping that pressure off of the RPD. Finally, the clock tower is not really a base because it doesn't really spawn units, but it is a point of interest that you spawn units to defend at the start of the map. Keeping Nemesis from obtaining his rocket launcher is in the best interest of all living players, not just yourself, but for the RPD, the heroes, because that power-up is huge for him. So this helipad here is the only way for people to get units to the clock tower without going to the trolley. And as the only player with the helicopter, you should be using this to get units to and from the clock tower based on what you see the undead doing with the trolley. That's about all I have for the UBCS. Hopefully this helps you do a good job in that slot.